Sure, as we go by, if we have some more details, we will do well to provide those details to you.
So what else are people saying?
Well, Wendy Shea is also trending on social media. Well, she says in a tweet, she said, I am still hotter than the coronavirus. Damn, waiting corona the figure. But for real, Shea gangsters, I beg, stay safe. And you can imagine many people have been trolling here. This one at Instagram tweeted, Corona cannot even stand heat, but you are here claiming you are hotter than it. When Shea, wake up, oh, wake up. This one else from Say_Robert, it says, coronavirus isn't hot. Why? It's cold virus. Now, predodo. Beno Success tweet, he said, hotter than coronavirus. You'll get safe soon, bro. You think it's a joke, eh? And he laughs. So those are some of the comments that are trending.
Interesting, and I'm sure it'll keep coming in. But that's how we wrap up the midday news for today. Our top stories: Ghana's coronavirus cases rise to 9, and nearly 500 people die in a day in Italy. We heard from the World Health Organization on what you can do to stay safe and hope for those infected. And President Akufo-Addo leads national prayers as the world continues the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm Arba Kumson. Good.
Your message is simple. If you say MTN Momo, it keep life very simple. This trip with you, you're getting 200%. Top up your airtime with your MTN Momo wallet. And one a breakthrough the pie. Enjoy 200% bonus on any amount you recharge with your MTN Momo. Mitra, 3 times your recharge money. You can't believe it, my boy. Dial *170# to top up your credit and feel the 200% extension. For about the bra, now calculation the reality no. 72 Ghana cedis we are here 200%. 75 Ghana we are here 200%. 20 Ghana we are here 200%. 200% bonus no. You feel our Ghana's best network. Dial *170#. Now go option 7. Now back home. Now you claim your 200% bonus no. Just Momo it. We there for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
Motorcycles are also vehicles and so are governed by the regulations that govern all vehicles. Always ensure that as a rider, you obey the road signs and markings, stop at red lights, and do not ride against traffic. Wear your helmet always. This Arrive Alive weekly message is brought to you by Joy FM, Joy News, and the National Road Safety Authority.
Multimedia Group Limited, in partnership with SES, KNET, and WillowAfric.com's e-learning project Willow TV, presents Joy Learning, a channel dedicated to providing educational content for all levels. The channel launches with a special focus on senior high school educational content because we believe in nourishing the minds of the future generation. Joy Learning is providing equal access to education, no matter whom you are and where you are in Ghana. Joy Learning collaborates with SES, KNET, and Willow TV to deliver a new learning experience. Study with Ghana's top teachers and lecturers on the Joy Learning channel, so individuals, senior high schools, community centers, and libraries get your multi-TV digibox now. Joy Learning. Keep learning.
If we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
Winning strategies, nuggets of wisdom, unforgettable stories, all in one inspirational hour. Springboard your virtual university with Albert and Comfort Okran and guests.
Planning is bringing the future into the present.
A job is for the salaries, mundane, survival-oriented, and there's no passion. But a career has fulfillment, innovation, drive. A growth path is clear, and you can build step by step all the way to the top.
Matriculate at 7 p.m. and graduate at 8 p.m. every Sunday on Joy 99.7 FM and live on Facebook. Springboard is brought to you by Legacy and Legacy and Joy 99.7 FM and proudly sponsored by MTN, Enterprise Group, UMB Bank, and Axis Pension Trust with support from the graphic business.
All the thrill and excitement in music.
Phase 2 promises to be even bigger and better. 5 of these talents must qualify to the next stage of the Prime Studio competition. These contestants must battle it out in another 4 weeks to make it to the final round. Who joins the final round? Is it Kisses, Melissa, Pamiti, Tisha, TM Music, Shatia Single, Hobby G, Akenzi Telem, Stranger, or Mickey J? Remember that you have what it takes to power your favorite contestant to the top. Vote for your favorite contestant by testing PS, followed by the name of your favorite contestant to the short code 1903 to increase your chances of making it to the final round. Watch Prime Studio this and every Saturday at 8 p.m. only on Joy Prime. Joy Prime, real entertainment. Prime Studio, rock the world.
Bringing hope to many around the globe, transforming lives into legacies. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil. And now, today's word.
Well, we are in a time where we need to have faith to battle and faith to overcome. So today I'm preaching on faith that overcomes. Faith that overcomes. How do we win the battles of life? How do we overcome the pressures of this world? We sang in our worship, we have overcome, and declared that we have overcome. But how do we do it? How do we experience that overcoming grace and power that God has given to us? And today I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to start with my opening text from 1 John chapter 5, verse 4 and 5. I hope you know that there is a difference between John's gospel and 1 John. So 1 John chapter 5, verse 4 and 5. And we read these very powerful words from 1 John, and it says, "For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that overcomes the world, our faith. Who is he who overcomes the world but he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God? For whatever is born of God overcomes the world." It's very interesting how that word is rendered in 1 John. It didn't limit itself to whoever, but it says whatever is born of God overcomes the world. Whatever. Now, whatever means three things. First, it means a person or an individual who is born of God. If a person, an individual is born of God, they are whatever. They could be male, they could be female, young, old, tall, not tall, black, white, whatever. So far as you are a human being, you are part of whatever. But whatever is not just talking about persons, it's also talking about purposes, intentions. Whatever purpose, whatever intention is born of God is part of the whatever. And thirdly, whatever includes plans. Whatever plan, whatever initiative, whatever you're pursuing, if it's born of God, it will overcome the world. So, the Bible is giving us the people, the things, the activities that are programmed and set apart to be victorious. So when the world throws challenges, pressures, trials, tribulations at you, there is a category of people and things that are overcomers. So we've looked at whatever. Now let's look at what the Bible means when it says something is born of God. Whatever is born of God. Three things. When we say something is born of God, first we mean that it is inspired by God. That God has breathed into it. God has breathed into it. It means the Spirit of God is in it. It is not the work of man. It is not begun by a man. It is inspired of God. In Genesis, we see that when God created man out of the dust of the earth, he breathed into man, inspired, and man received the breath of God. Man inspired or received the breath of God. So when we say something is born of God, it means that God has breathed into it. God's Spirit is in it. Our salvation is a work of God's grace. God's Spirit comes to live in us when Christ comes to live in us. So that which is born of God is that which is inspired of God. Secondly, it also means that which is initiated by God. That which is initiated by God. It is started by God. It is led by God. So, inspired by God, initiated by God. Thirdly, it means that it is inhabited by God. That means that God lives in it. It makes room for God. It is not enough for something to be inspired of God. It must also continue to make room for God. It is not enough for you to let God start, but you must continue to make room for God. So, whatever, if it's a person, whatever, if it's a purpose, whatever, if it's a plan, and it is inspired by God, and it is initiated by God, and it has room for God, it will overcome the world. It will overcome the world. No matter what the world throws at you, if you are of God, you will overcome. If your ideas are of God, they will overcome. If your plans are of God, they will overcome. If your purposes are of God, they will overcome. Whatever is born of God, whatever, will overcome. So, in a season of difficulty, such as we're experiencing in our country, when things are going down for a lot of people, there are a people who will be going up. In this season, when businesses are collapsing, there are some businesses that will overcome. And they are those businesses that are born of God. Whatever is born of God overcomes the world. So, if you have something that God started, and you know what I'm doing is inspired by God. The Lord spoke to me about it. The Lord is the one who directed me. I use it to glorify God. I make room for God in this activity. It qualifies to overcome the world. If your marriage is inspired by God, initiated by God, inhabited by God, no weapon formed against it shall prosper. Whatever is born of God overcomes the world. That's a very powerful thought. Very powerful. Whatever. A God person cannot be defeated by the world. A God purpose cannot be defeated by the world. If God was the one who led you to do what you are doing, it will not collapse. The flood will come. The winds will beat. The pressure will come. But if it is born of God, it will overcome. It will overcome. And that's why it's important that we don't just live our lives the way we want and come to God when we are in trouble. Because sometimes, that's how people live their lives. They live their lives the way they want. And then when they are in crisis, they come to God and then do maybe a 7-day fast. And pray for a very long time and hope that, God will be very pleased because they didn't eat for 7 days. No, you don't use God for emergencies. If you're taking a step and he led you into it, if he's the one who initiated it, he's the one who inspired it, if constantly you have given him room to operate in that area of your life, then when the trials and the tribulations come, they will not overcome you. Listen to what Jesus says in John chapter 16, verse 33. Very powerful words from Jesus. Jesus says, "These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." In the world you will have tribulation. He didn't say you may have tribulation or you could have tribulation. He says you will. You will. If you are in this world, you will have tribulation. There will be rainfall that will cause havoc for you. There will be problems in the world. You will have tribulation. But smile. Be of good cheer. Smile. Because I have overcome the world. We can't stop the world from tribulating us. But the world can't stop us from overcoming the tribulation. The world will do its part, and we do our part. We are the overcomers. Somebody say, I have overcome. I have overcome. You will overcome in this season. I said you will overcome in this season. I said you will overcome in this season. Your business will overcome in this season. Your ideas will overcome in this season. Because whatever is born of God overcomes the world. Overcomes the world. Whatever. Now I want us to go back to that verse again, the opening text, 1 John chapter 5. It says, "For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith." This is the victory that overcomes the world, our faith. So there are two things that are required to overcome the world. Two things. To overcome the world, first, the thing that has to overcome must be born of God. Whether it's the person or an idea, a concept, a business, it has to be born of God. So if I am born of God, because I have received Jesus into my life, and what I'm doing was inspired by God, I qualify to overcome. That's the first qualification. Whatever is born of God overcomes the world. And then if you look at that verse again, there is a phrase, it says, "And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith." So being born of God is just one part of it. The second part is that you must operate in faith.